My name is Jonathan Yantek, and I have decided to do my news analysis project on the freedom of religion that is given to us through the First Amendment. And it is something that has been in the news lately, and is something that is very close to my life, so that's why I decided to choose it. To start off my presentation, I wanted to cite verbatim the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. It reads, "The government shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or the press, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble, and to petition the government for redress of grievances." In this presentation, I will discuss two different cases, one being a pending case, as you see here, and one being a case that is already decided, but they are intertwined. This pending case is a subset of the case that is already defined. What I mean by that is this case is challenging the case that was already defined, which the case that I will be discussing later is really having trouble saying this, is Obergefell versus Hodges, which was a 5-4 Supreme Court ruling that was decided on June 26th of this year, which made same-sex marriage legal in all 50 states. So the pending case is April Miller versus Kim Davis in her individual and official capacity as Rowan County Clerk. And the specific part that I want to discuss about this case is the fact that Kim Davis was thrown in prison for citing her religious belief and not following through with this court case based on her religious beliefs. And this article right here, I have to get out of my PowerPoint and pull it up, is from the New York Daily News, and it discusses the judge's decision on why he decided to put Kim Davis in prison for not issuing marriage licenses to everyone, even though the court decision has nothing to do with heterosexual marriages. And Kim Davis was trying to get around this law, saying, if I have to issue marriage licenses to homosexual couples, then I won't issue marriage licenses to anyone. And in her eyes, that was fair. So that is what I've found in this case, and I'm going to get back into my PowerPoint. And then this second link here, I couldn't get it to pull up on the PowerPoint, but it's there in the link, and hopefully it'll work for you when you get the PowerPoint. And if it doesn't, then I would be more than happy to send you the link to this document that I found. It's basically the court order, actually no, it is the court order written in this case, and I wanted to read an excerpt from it, basically saying that Kim Davis has been an apostolic Christian for years and has always cited her beliefs previous to this court case. And I'm going to read an excerpt from this quote. Davis, an apostolic Christian with sincere religious objections to same-sex marriage, specifically sought to avoid issuing licenses to same-sex couples without discriminating against them. Plaintiffs now allege that this no-marriage license policy subsequently interferes with their rights to marry because it effectively forecloses them from obtaining licenses in their home county. Davis insists that her policy poses an incidental burden on plaintiffs' rights to marry, which justifies by the need to protect her own free exercise rights. So she is saying that she is being fair here by not issuing marriage licenses at all if she has to do something against her religious beliefs and issue marriage licenses to homosexual couples. I want to start out by stating my belief on this. While I am a Christian myself, I am in full support of the Obergefell versus Hodges Supreme Court ruling, and I'm in favor of homosexual marriage. I believe marriage is marriage and love is love. However, in this case, I want to argue on the side of Kim Davis for a few reasons. First, this being a Supreme Court ruling, I do not feel that it was appropriate for Kim Davis to be thrown in prison for citing her religious belief when this is not in fact a federal law. It is a Supreme Court ruling saying it is legal, but it is not signed into law until the legislative branch handles it and the executive branch, which being the president, signs it into law. The three branches of government are the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch, as I stated before. And as I've also stated, the judicial branch, which is the Supreme Court, does not have the legal bearing to create laws and to say what is law and what is not law. And this is a First Amendment violation because if it would be a law, this would be prohibiting people from exercising their religious beliefs in the quote-unquote, for lack of a better term, wrongness of homosexuality. And with that being said, this would be a First Amendment violation based on that. And as I've stated before, the decided case is James Obergefell, petitioner, versus Richard Hodges, who is the director of Ohio Department of Health. And in this case, I found a law review from the nationallawjournal.com. And this law review discusses the exact findings of the case. And this case, Obergefell versus Hodges, is the precursor to Miller versus Davis, which is the pending case that I discussed earlier. And there was another specific excerpt that I wanted to read from this article, and I'm getting more pop-up ads. I apologize. Once I get rid of these, you'll be able to see it more clearly. More, here we go. Okay. So let's go down here. And the excerpt I would like to read is, once I find my cursor, there it is. It's this, and is a quote from one of the Supreme Court justices, and it says, "Although marriage between a man and a woman has been the rule for millennia, the past alone does not rule the present. The nation's understanding of marriage has changed, as now generations recognize new dimensions of freedom." So basically what the Supreme Court ruling is saying is, well, this particular justice is saying that based on the public's opinion is where they came up with their ruling. And I don't believe that the public should speak for everyone. And I believe that the separation of church and state, should have been enacted here, and that the government has no right to tell people who can and cannot marry, and who should be told who can and cannot marry. And actually, I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint. One other point I would like to, or that I wanted to make in this, I'll come back to this in a minute, but one thing I wanted to mention is that this being a First Amendment issue, is that Kim Davis, when she was elected, and keep in mind that county clerk is an elected position, when Kim Davis was elected, this court case was not decided yet, so she did not, at that time, have to make this decision. And she was not going to make this decision based on her religious beliefs. And I do not believe, and she's actually said that if she had to make this decision, she would not run for this position. So I do not believe that it was right of the judge to have thrown her in jail based on her religious belief. When this court case was thrown at her post her election. And in Obergefell versus Hodges, they cited the 14th Amendment, which is equal justice under the law. So they were saying, in this case, that if heterosexual couples have the right to marry, then so should homosexual couples. And as I've said before, I do not believe that the judicial branch, well, actually the judicial branch does not have the right to create laws and say who can and cannot marry. In conclusion, in my pending case, which is Miller versus Davis, I believe that Kim Davis will win, citing her religious beliefs, because the court case, which is Oberfell versus Hodges, was decided upon post her election, and given her decision to run was pre this decision, I do not believe that she is actually, as I've stated, she would not have run for the position based on if she had to make this decision citing her religious belief. And that is everything that I have found on the case. And if you have any more questions, I would love to answer them. And thank you for your time. I just wanted to take a quick shot of my works cited page, and then it will be in the attached document as well. I just wanted to show this in my video to show that it was done.